Okay, we are now live on YouTube. So I'll kick it to Pete Walrod, Chairman of the Criminal Justice Committee and Supervisor from Town of Georgetown.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Pete Walrod. I'm the Chairman of the Madison County Criminal Justice Public Safety Communications Committee. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. On June 12, 2020, Governor Andrew Cuomo issued an executive order number 203 requiring each local government in New York State to adopt the policing reform plan by April 1st, 2021. The New York State Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative asks local police agencies to actively engage with stakeholders in the local community. Madison County and the Madison County Sheriff's Office began this process back in September, and we solicited for public comments through the month of October. Now, as our next step in the process, we're hosting this virtual public comment period. Unfortunately, due to the rise in COVID-19 cases in our community, we could not hold this in person. We have a list of people who signed up to speak, and I'd like to thank you for being part of this process. I ask that you keep in mind when you're giving your comments that they specifically focus on the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Each person will be given 3 minutes to speak. County Administrator Simone will be keeping time, and we ask that you turn on your video when it's your turn to talk. We will be just taking your comments at this time.
Is there a way I
If
can?
you're not talking, please mute if you're not talking.
Or we wait for the next time. You're just watching us,
I'm gonna
right?
mute everybody real quick. Hold on.
Will be. And then we do the tax increase.
Okay. Pete, go ahead. You're muted, Pete. Sorry. I had to mute you too because I had to mute everybody at the same time. There you go, Pete.
We will be just taking your comments at this time. We will not be answering questions. Again, thank you for being part of this process. After this, we will draft a police reform plan, present it to the committee, and post it for additional public comment. We hope to have a draft shortly after the new year. Before we hear from our first speaker, we received a written letter to be entered into public comment from Oneida Indian Nation Representative Ray Halbritter. I'll turn it over to Sam Field at this time.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This letter reads, Dear members of the Madison County Board of Supervisors, Sakoli, greetings. The Oneida Indian Nation was recently referenced in a letter from the Hamilton Area Anti-Racism Coalition. We were listed as an entity who should provide input regarding the New York State's Police Reform Plan Committee and its ongoing process to examine policing efforts as it relates to people and communities of color. As such, we are pleased to use this opportunity to contribute to the ongoing conversation and share our experiences working with the Madison County Police Department. We should also like to relay our perspective on qualities we deem essential to law enforcement. Our relationship with the Madison County Sheriff's Department has been one of mutual respect and productive in meaningful ways to people we serve. Under the leadership of Sheriff Todd Hood, the officers of Madison County PD have collaborated closely in many areas with the Oneida Indian Nation and its own police department, which has produced enhanced community policing and public safety within the county. Following the historic settlement of 2013 between the Oneida Indian Nation, New York State, Madison County, and Oneida County, the two counties partnered with the nation to deputize the OIN PD. Since then, our collaboration has only improved. Sheriff Hood regularly reaches out proactively to understand the sensitivities of our community and ask how the Madison County Sheriff's Department can work more collaboratively with OIN PD and the people it serves. Additionally, the Oneida Nation's partnership between Oneida and Madison counties, along with the training it has done to distinguish itself, has helped make our own OIN PD a national model for tribal law enforcement agencies. In 1998, our police department became the first tribal police department in the entire county to be accredited by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, a certification that has been renewed every year since. We have witnessed police officers of Madison County conduct their duties and engage with the public on a basis of compassion for all, understanding of nuanced circumstances, integrity in upholding the law, and a genuine desire to help their friends and neighbors. These are the values we demand from our members of our Oneida Indian Nation Police Department, and we believe them to be shared by our partners in Madison County. We appreciate you taking the time to include our perspective on this matter relating to the recent letter from HAARC. We hope you find this information helpful in answering any questions you may have on this subject. Your members are also welcome to contact us should you like to discuss this matter more. And it's signed Ray Halberter, Oneida Indian Nation Representative and Oneida Nation Enterprise CEO.
Thank you, Sam. And I have a list in front of me of folks who have signed up to speak, and I'm just going to go down the list and I'll call your name. And if you're on, if you can show your video, and we'll, we have 3 minutes. I'll start the clock, and at 30 seconds, I will give a wave. I'll try to zoom in a little bit more so you can see me. So folks know that they have 30 seconds left. So starting with John Nichols from Oneida. I don't know if he is on the list. I don't see him. Doesn't appear that he is on. It's hard because there's so many people on. There's 40 participants, but it doesn't appear that he is on. So I'm going to go to Chris Amon from Hamilton.
Hi, my name's Chris Amon from Hamilton. I'm here as a representative of the Hamilton Area Anti-Racism Coalition, HAARC, to present the following statement to the Police Reform Plan Committee. It is our hope that the committee will conduct a thorough examination of policies, procedures, and practices within the context of racial inequity, authentically engage with the public, and create reforms that are based on evidence-based practices. Based on the work this committee has done so far, these goals are far from being reached. In short, the committee has done a poor job of following the spirit and mandate of Executive Order 203. Our statement includes ways that the committee has not met the mandate of the executive order, corrective measures that can improve committee processes, as well as police reform recommendations for the final plan. And we have submitted a longer version of this in writing to the committee. There are glaring problems in regard to the limited skill set and diversity of the committee itself. None or few of the current committee members represent those most impacted by racial inequities in policing, nor are they experts in racial equity work, police reform, and/or broad community outreach and engagement. None or few of the members have experience in identifying and redressing racism, spearheading broad-based community outreach and community data collection, data analysis as it relates to systems reform, and policy and procedure analysis within the context of disparate racial impact. We suggest a number of members who could be added to the committee to improve these issues. Very little information about current policies, procedures, practices have been shared with the public. We, the community, cannot measure the successful examination of these or determine if and to what extent any racially disparate impact exists until we have more information. To correct this, we suggest that all policies, procedures, and practices are made easily accessible to the public on the Madison County Sheriff's website. Currently, that information is not easily accessible on the website.
30 seconds, Chris.
Okay. The Police Reform Plan Committee has given the public very little information or context about why the Executive Order 203 was made and what kinds of reform measures are on the table. So we ask that you use the guide that was created for Reinvention Collaborative Resources and Guide for Public Officials and Citizens. There are questions in there that you can ask the public to further this process and do it in the correct manner.
Thank you, Chris. Next up, we have Julie Carlson from Lebanon. Julie,
Hi, good afternoon. Yep.
Thank
Am I
you.
ready to go, Mark?
Yep, go ahead. Thanks, Julie.
Okay. So my name is Julie Carlson. I live in Lebanon. I'm also a member of the Hamilton Area Anti-Racism Coalition. I want to thank all of you for holding this public forum to get feedback and input from the public. I know that getting feedback, particularly when it comes to community members being disappointed at work that's being done or how things are going, is really hard to receive. And so thank you for listening to feedback. And I just also want to say again, I appreciate not this thing for you guys to do. That you have found many ways in which community members are happy with your service.
Hey, Julie, you're
That's
cutting out
wonderful.
you're cutting out a little bit.
And we
Julie.
commend you for doing here is our best. So that, oh, okay. Hey, Mike, can we pause me and can you go to someone else and I'll
Yes,
connect to the internet in a different way?
I'll pause you. Sometimes if you disable video, Julie, in your case, it might help too, but I'll pause you and then I'll go to the next person.
I appreciate that.
Not a problem. Just let me reset my clock here. Jen Wong from Hamilton. I don't think that person is on, so we're gonna go to Rodney Agnat from Hamilton. I don't think he is on. And I'm not going to be able to pronounce this name so forgive me in advance, but Padma Kamala from Hamilton. Person is on. We have Susan Jenkins from Bridges. I don't think I saw Susan on either. No, okay. John Bailey from Hubbardsville. John is
Yes.
on.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, John.
John Bailey, Hubbardsville, New York, member of HAAR. The Hamilton Area Anti-Racism Coalition has the following summarized statement to the committee. Based on the work of this committee so far, we feel that you have not followed the spirit and mandate of Executive Order 203. On community input, your request for public input drew only 0.16% of county residents, hardly a representative number. Scheduling this event today at noon on a weekday with less than 2 weeks' notice signals that the committee is not committed to the inclusion of the whole community. Our full statement has named over 19 groups and organizations the committee could have and could still reach out to for assistance in community engagement. Accessibility. The committee should make participation accessible to non-English speakers, differently abled communities, and those without access to technology and at reasonable times and dates. Racial bias. An example, in the sheriff's frequently answered questions, there was a question about the thin blue line flag being a symbol of racism and hate. The sheriff's response was that the flag was not a symbol of racism and hate, without any further discussion. That's the sheriff's unquestioned opinion. But why was this committee formed? This committee should be questioning policing practices and rooting out racism. Our full statement has more on information about this flag. Corrective measures. First, the committee's review should be within the specific lens of race and to assess for disparate racial impact. Second, the committee should acknowledge the current context of the thin blue line flag and remove it from county property. A personal note, on October 23rd of this year, I delivered the HAAR survey to the Sheriff's Department. I was told I had to go to building number 7. That's the county jail. As I approached, there on a pole was the thin blue line flag. Next, I had to be buzzed through 2 separate steel doors and hand the package to an officer standing in a darkened room. Now, I'm an old white guy trying to do my civic duty, and I was intimidated. Imagine how a person of color or any person with a bad relationship with the police would have felt trying to make that delivery, especially trying to admit their thoughts on racism and the police. If the Sheriff's Department and this committee cannot at least try to see through the eyes of people of color and marginalized, then they are blind to racism in our society and the intent of the governor's executive order. That's all.
Thank you, John. Laura Jack from Hamilton. I'll just check the list real quick. I don't think that Laura is on. Doesn't appear to be. Okay. Mike Eef, Superintendent from Chittenango Schools.
Yes, thank you, Mark. I appreciate the opportunity. I wanted to, in light of the work that the county and the governor's office, or excuse me, in light of the work that the county's doing, representative of the executive order and the review of the Sheriff's Department, I wanted to comment that the change in the Sheriff's Department recently, with a focus on relationships and support and community partnership, is appreciated, and that work should continue. As a member of the Madison County community and as a member of a school district, having a Sheriff's Department that is committed to relationships is important. And we've watched that shift over the last few years. And I wanted to say that is not only valuable to the district, but it's also valuable to our community members, and that work should continue, that it's important that work continue. Also, I'd like to comment that the partnership that was forged with the Oneida Indian Nation is extremely important to us, having 2 casinos within our school borders, and that I'm very grateful for the Sheriff Department and Sheriff Hood's facilitation of those officers knowing the proximity of our buildings and seeking relationship with our schools, going beyond simple officer citizen relationship, but really partnership as being members of this community. And that's something that's important and should continue. So in light of the governor's executive order, I wanted to comment that a focus on relationships, a focus on partnership has been noticed, appreciated, and that it must be critical to the work that goes forward. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mike. Betsy Nash from Casanova. I'll look real quick. It doesn't appear that Betsy is on. Okay. Sharon Patterson.
Yes.
Hi, Sharon. You're up.
Hi. Okay. I'm here because several years ago, I ran into this organization called Measures for Justice. It's out of Rochester, New York, 421 University Avenue. I'll just read you a little bullet point. Measures for Justice assesses and compares the performance of entire criminal justice systems on a county by county basis, which I like because every county is unique and has its unique problems. Measures for Justice assesses and compares the performance of the entire criminal justice system. I just read that. All right. So the idea behind this data collection prosecutors management information system is to collect the data, offer transparency. They have a saying, no data, no change, which I agree with. And I'm hoping that the people on here, Chris, Julie, the other people who are on here will take a look at this website. I think it is a way that we can make best practices really work in our community by actually collecting our unique data. And also by being part of it, I think we also, they have a Facebook page, by the way. by being part of it, we can also look at how other counties, other areas are coming up with better practices. I just think it's a great way for us to go forward, really solve problems. Let me see, what else have I put down here? I'm not sure I did. I didn't write anything down. I just happened to do this. Well, anyway, I just hope everybody goes to Measures for Justice. This is, I don't know if you can see it, Amy Bach's book. I first connected with her on C-SPAN 2 Book TV. She's very good. And after that, after the book,
30 seconds, Sharon.
Yep. After the book, she started the Measures for Justice. I think it's a great movement forward. I would like to see lots of things done county by county, like let's compete in Madison County to see what our sustainability is, not just around justice issues, but all issues. What are our assets in this community? What wonderful things can Madison County Sheriff Department come up with if they joined Measures for Justice? Great. I love this forum.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay.
Jennifer Stromer Galley from Casanova.
Good afternoon. Hi, yes, I'm Professor Jenny Stromer-Galley. I appreciate the opportunity to address the committee, and I thank you for all of the work. I know policing is hard, and I recognize the challenges that are faced by the men and women who are addressing the many crises and sort of mundane events that occur in daily life in enforcing the laws. And so I want to thank you, Sheriff Hood, for your work and your service, and the committee for hosting this. I share the concerns raised by HAAR in terms of the process. The challenge of joining this meeting on a weekday in the middle of the workday is challenging. I believe strongly, and if I heard correctly from the principal, the interest in ensuring partnerships between the citizens of Madison County, the Madison County Executive Board, and the sheriffs, then that participation should also extend to ensuring greater involvement by the public in this conversation. So that's a kind of a request, a gentle request. My concerns, and Sheriff Hood knows about them because he and I've had some conversations about them, revolve around the issues of militarization of our police. And there is a fair amount of research that exists about the potential increases of deadly encounters between law enforcement and members of the public when the police are militarized. And by militarization, that ranges from everything from equipment, such as vehicles, to guns and ammunition and things of that nature. I would ask the Madison County Executive Board to really look carefully and think deeply about the extent to which the Madison County Sheriff's Office should have military equipment. I feel very strongly that our police are civilians. They are citizens that are given the honor of enforcing the law and being part of our communities. My concern about the militarization of the police is that it creates, right, the military, the function and purpose of the military typically is coming into other communities, not being part of those communities to undertake whatever the issues are in those communities. The militarization of our local police sets them apart, makes them different, and gives them weapons and equipment that I think potentially is risky and dangerous. The only other note I would like to put forward is that it is unclear how much training and the extent of the training that our current sheriffs receive. I ask for greater transparency and more public conversation to help inform the public about what the sorts of training are that our current sheriff's office receive, so that we can better understand and be part of this continued conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Gail Boone. Didn't see Gail's name on the list, but Gail, if you're there. Okay. Margaret Millman Barris from Oneida. I know Margaret's on. I think I saw her name.
Hi, Mark. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My video is not working, so I hope
That's fine.
it's okay to talk. So thank you for holding this public forum. I think it's great. I love to hear all of the conversation that everybody's having, and I think there have been a lot of really good points made. My hope is that this process, this committee, and this type of public forum, that this is really just the start. And I hope the county continues these conversations after the plan has been submitted in April to the state. I think I agree with the Hamilton Anti-Racism Coalition, what they said in terms of bringing in more specific expertise on police reforms and racial justice, because I agree that is something that's missing from the current committee members. And I just wanted to comment on something that was said previously about having cooperative relationships between the sheriff and school districts. And I think it's great, but I think we also need to keep in mind the difference between relationships at the executive level and interactions at the individual level. So we need to be mindful that, I don't know, is this happening or isn't it happening? But just because the sheriff has a good relationship with a school superintendent, that doesn't mean that the deputy's interactions with a general member of the public on the street is necessarily going to be happening the same way. And so with that in mind, I think one of the big things that I would really, really, really encourage the county to do coming out of this process is to establish a complaint procedure where members of the public can submit complaints and know that it'll be evaluated in a transparent way, an independent way, that they'll know what the process is going to be before they submit the complaints, that information about how to submit a complaint and what the process will be and who will be evaluating it is made easily available on the Sheriff's Department website or the county website, because otherwise it's just, there's no use to having a complaint department if it's going to be evaluated by the people you're complaining about. I mean, that's just, when the sheriff discussed that in the last meeting that you held, which I believe was the second one. And, he claimed that the Sheriff's Department takes every complaint seriously, but, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But as a member of the public, how am I supposed to know? And why would I trust that? Nobody investigates their own complaints. That's just not good practice in life and in general and anything. So anyway, that would be my, one thing that I would really encourage the county to do is set that up. So thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Margaret. Corinne Baum from Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am appreciative of all the comments that have come before and look forward to those that follow on what is clearly a very important topic. When I came to Cooperative Extension a number of years ago, I recognized that there was an opportunity to build a relationship with the Sheriff's Office. And from my very first meeting with Todd Hood, it was clear that that was an opportunity that he was open to. And I want to emphasize a point that was made earlier about the importance of collaboration and partnership. When I talk to my counterparts across New York State, it's not always the case that the police department is open to working directly and creating those partnerships. So since those early conversations, I've worked with the Sheriff's Department on everything from the Madison County Fair, where they did child fingerprinting, and I forget what it's called, it's the Safe Child Program, making sure that was accessible to all and be very welcome and opening in that environment, to more specific programs that have involved having an opportunity to do some training presentations on animal care and animal welfare, about some best approaches and practices to handling calls and complaints, concerns, providing support for that, as well as support for first responding to farm and large animal responses and emergencies. And from beginning to end, there's been a real openness to learning, to wanting to be good partners, to collaborating. We serve a very socioeconomically diverse population in this county, with people who have oftentimes divergent views on what is and is not appropriate for animal welfare. And I have very much appreciated the ways in which the Sheriff's Office has so respectfully worked through those and become a real partner with us. And so for that, I'm very appreciative of that work, and encourage those kinds of collaborative opportunities to continue in all kinds of forms.
Thank you, Corinne. Ann Ferguson from Casanova. There is an Ann on. I'm not sure if it's Ann Ferguson or not.
I'm here.
Okay.
I wish to focus on more specific practices. I share the concern about the militarization of equipment and arms. I would like to see situations where the sheriff and police do not go in with guns. I feel having a gun is like holding a hammer, and everything looks like a nail, and it's bound to be used. And second, on domestic or situations where there may be psychological or emotional problems, to go in with mental health resources as opposed to guns, and to find ways to have mental health experts on staff. And more specifically, as relates to equipment, I do not want to see AR-15s or any similar type guns employed within Madison County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Marion Abowitz from Hamilton. I see that you are on.
I'm not going to speak.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go back to Julie Carlson. Julie, you ready to go?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Am I breaking up?
Nope, you're good. I'm going to just restart you from the start. 3 minutes, Julie.
I sure do appreciate that. And so I just want to start off again by saying I really appreciate this forum being held, although it's not at a time that's accessible to everyone. It's an honor to be here, to be able to share our viewpoint from Hamilton Area Anti-Racism Coalition. And I want to acknowledge that probably most of the feedback, if not all of it, has got to be really hard to hear, particularly if this is new information. And so I hope that we're able to continue these conversations, particularly around the areas where the feedback is challenging. It's great that you've got such good relationships with so many people in the county. Our goal is to expand those good relationships with everyone in the county, particularly those who have really challenging relationships with your office, with the sheriff's office. So along with the corrective measures that we made in our written statement that we touched upon in our comments, we also have some police reform recommendations. So those include creating a citizen review board that includes community members who have expertise and or experience in addressing racial and other social inequities as they pertain to policing. We also would like to see the data collection in very specific areas that includes shootings by officers, firearm discharges, civilian injuries, use of force incidents, all the way down to unwarranted traffic stops that don't end in ticketing. And we would like this data to be collected by officer and also the demographics of the person who is stopped. We can't possibly know if there are disparate racial impacts of policing in our county unless that data is collected specifically. And to my knowledge, that data is not collected. We'd also like this data to be collected regarding complaints and crime stats, as well as for this data to be published on the website that's easily accessible to the public. We would like to see a complete ban of no-knock warrants, positioning of individuals on their stomach while being restrained, application of pressure on someone's back while face down, and use of force on an individual as handcuffed, and any kind of retaliatory use of force. We also recommend the use of summonses rather than warrantless arrests and minor incidents. I know I'm running out of time, and there are other recommendations that we've made in our written statement that I hope that you read. And also, most important, Sheriff Todd, we are here, we're in the community, and we want to work with you and help make policing in this county exemplary in this state. And I think we're in a great place where we're starting the conversation now, and we have a lot of work to do in the future. And I hope that you're open to working with us to continue this conversation even after the reform gets turned into the state by April. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Laura Jack is now on. She was on earlier. Laura, do you want to, from Hamilton?
Hi, good afternoon. I just wanted to join. I didn't have any remarks, but thank you for doing this.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, Laura. That's the list. Is there anybody else on the at the meeting here that didn't sign up that is on the Zoom that would like 3 minutes to have a comment? If so, just turn your video on and let me know who you are and going once, going twice. Well, I do want to thank everybody for the comments. I am going to kick it to the sheriff in a second, but behalf of the Board of Supervisors and county administration, definitely thank you for participating in the open session here on police reform. Appreciate all the comments and feedback from everybody. And I will, this is, has been recorded. It is live on our YouTube page. It will be on our YouTube page if anybody wants to refer any of their colleagues or friends or family to view this after the fact. It will be there. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to email out or you'll give us a phone call. And I will kick it to the sheriff. If sheriff has anything he would like to say.
No, Mark, I don't have much. I'd just like to thank everybody for taking the time to come out today and voice your opinions. A lot of good things, a lot of good suggestions, and we're going to take a look at everything that was brought to the table here today. So again, thank you all for your input. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff. Pete, anything to close, Pete?
Just echo the sheriff in that. Excuse me again. Thank you for the opportunity to listen. And again, we are taking some comments in a written form as well, not just through technology. They can be mailed to the county office building, Wampsville, and they will be read and recorded and be part of our plan as well. So that's another option for folks. So, but again, thank you for your time, and we'll continue to work together on this.
Samantha, you want to give the email address again and the mailing address if folks want to submit written comment in regards. I did share the latest statement from HAAR has been shared with the full Board of Supervisors. I emailed that out this morning. Thank you, Julie, for sending it over. And if anybody has any, I'll kick it to Sam if you can give the email address out.
So the email address is policereform@madisoncounty.ny.gov, and you can mail anything to the Madison County complex at 138 North Court Street at Wampsville, New York, 13163. and to put it attention to Samantha Field, and I gather all those and send them out to the committee.
Great. Thank you, Samantha.
Mark, just one more thing. I'd like to thank Sam Fields for all the effort she's put into coordinating every part of this. And I know that I'm sure everybody's aware of the work and the messaging coming out of Madison County, not just for this, but for the COVID. And Sam has been a vital, integral part of that. And she's a busy young lady. We're fortunate to have her. And she'll continue to get out the message on several different fronts for Madison County. Thank you, Sam.
Echo that 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Phenomenal job with everything. We're lucky to have you. Okay, with that, I'm going to close the meeting. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, comments, you'll send them out, or feel free to call me. You can reach me at the Board of Supervisors office at 315-366-2201. And once again, Mark Simone, County Administrator. Thank you all.
Thank you.